Hood Canal Communications and MasonWebTV.com present 2016 general election candidates video sit-downs. Here is Diedrich Allen with Mason County PUD number 1 Commissioner candidate Karl Denison.
Karl, thanks for taking some time to talk to us on.
Well, thank you, Diedrich, for inviting me down here today on a beautiful sunny
day. Yeah. What they would call a Chamber of Commerce day.
Exactly.
Yeah. So first off, for those who don't know, Karl, tell everybody about you. You can give a little bit about your background and why you're seeking re-election.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm the incumbent, of course. I've been the commissioner for over 11 years. I sort of grew up in public power. My father worked for the Corps of Engineers, and he actually helped build all the dams on the Snake River, Lower Snake, and Dorshack. Even worked on some on the Columbia. When I was about 4 years old, I remember him taking me to Celilo Falls for the last Indian fishery. And he said, "Remember that, son, you'll never see that again." And so I sort of, as a forester, or I grew up as a forester biologist, I opposed the dams, actually. My dad was building them, and we had rather heated arguments. But in the end, I think the dams have been very good for the state of Washington. It's a renewable resource, and it not only provides low-cost, clean energy, but the flood control, the irrigation, the economic, it's the economic engine of the state of Washington. It's really attributed to the economy of the state of Washington, and so I'm here to protect that resource. It's a very valuable resource that our forefathers built.
So what are the top issues facing the PUD today?
Well, we got a lot of issues. Local control is one issue that I'm sort of a cheerleader for. I was the Forest Service liaison in Olympia for all the national forests in the state, so I had a lot of legislative background. And so I've worked through the Washington PUD Association. I was actually president of the association for a couple of years, and we have been working to preserve that local control. There's a lot of onerous regulations that really don't add value to our customers that we fight. Now, not all regulations is bad. There's actually some good regulations, but we had to beat back several. One in particular that's really caused problems for a lot of the PUDs is I-937, and that's requiring us to build resources before need. It's a renewable resource, but the problem is hydropower is not considered an eligible renewable, and we would like to see that change because hydropower is a very valuable resource. A lot of your intermittent resources that we have to build, the wind, the solar, they're not always there when we need them, and so we need that base load power.
Now, what would you like to see the PUD accomplish in the next few years?
Well, I've been a real advocate for improving our reliability, especially on the electric side. When I came in, we were having quite a few power outages. I pushed hard as a forester. We have trees that grow very rapidly out here in the Northwest, and we get a lot of winds in the winter and a lot of rains, and that equates to blowdown, and that's our number one power outage problem. So I've pushed for very aggressive tree trimming. We've also pushed for upgrades of our infrastructure, our substations. We built a new Skokomish, or a new substation to replace the sub in the Skoke Valley that used to be in a floodplain a lot during the wintertime. Our crews would have to wade in chest-deep water just to get to it. So we've got that up on the hill now. We've been doing a lot of underground replacement, overhead replacement, larger wire, putting in tree wire, which is so it got a protective coating on it, so the limbs, when it strike it, it doesn't short it out and cause an outage. Improving our substations. And then on the water side, we've been doing a lot of upgrades to our water systems. New lines, getting the reservoirs all flushed out. We put skin divers in them even, and they have a vacuum system, and they clean them up. Things that we weren't doing years ago. So I think we're providing our customers a high quality product at a very reasonable price, and The regulations, of course, is causing prices to go up, as well as the Bonneville Power Administration. They keep doing double-digit rate increases on us, and so I've spent a lot of time fighting that. We've got Bonneville now to actually take what they call Process 2028 to look out at what our power rate's going to be in 2028, and we're pushing hard as a public power community on Bonneville they've got to get their rates down. We would hope that they could get them down to 2% increases instead of this double-digit increase that we keep seeing each rate period.
Now, Carl, you've jumped into a lot of subjects that I wanted to specify out. You've answered my questions. Let's talk a little bit more about the water systems the PUD has.
Well, we've got 36 water systems, and any system with more than 15 connects is considered a Class A water system. And that gets you into a whole bunch of regulations and a lot of different tests and water system plans and sanitary surveys. And one thing that I would like to do is I think this one-size-fits-all, we need a new classification because we have to meet the same standards of the city of Seattle on these systems that have 15 connects. And I think we need a small Group A water system classification that would relieve some of the regulatory requirements. Still, we want to provide safe water. We would do the basic testing, but some of the requirements I think they could lighten up on. And we've actually pushed as a PUD association and gotten some. One of the things was causing a lot of costs was doing our water system plan every 6 years. And we met with the Department of Health, Department of Ecology, and actually now we've got that expanded. It's going to go to 10 years. So that's a plus, and that's one of the things that makes the PUD Association value, because we're strong in numbers, and we work closely with the Department of Health and the Department of Ecology, and we're not trying to do anything that would compromise the safety of the system. So we're just asking for some common sense regulations that save the ratepayers money.
When you're talking about 15 customers for your hookups and you have to upgrade the lines and what have you, are you spreading those costs out through all of the systems or just those 15 for that one system?
Well, we have a goal to actually spread the costs to everybody eventually as we grow, but we've only got about 2,000 water hookup connects. I think to do the total cost spread, we're probably going to have to double that. I think we will, over time, see more and more people come, because a lot of these small independent systems, they can't keep up with the regulations, so they're looking for somebody else to manage their systems. So over time, we will grow to that. Right now, what we have is a postage stamp rate for our base charge, but our systems some systems have had a lot of capital improvements in it. It's really not fair to the folks that had a good system, didn't need a lot of upgrades, to shift that cost to them. So we've got the postage stamp base rate, but each system does have, some of them have capital surcharges, and we don't see that going away for some time until we can get large enough so that it's not a big rate impact to everybody.
So your water systems, they're all over the county?
They're all over the county. We do countywide. We do both Mason 1 and 3s, because Mason 3 does fiber, and we had an agreement with them. We would do the water if we did the fiber. And we can't be experts in everything.
Right. And as somebody said that you have at least one in Thurston County. Is that correct, or did you?
There's one out on the county line. I don't think we have any in Thurston.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real close.
Real close. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
and then we have a few Class B systems that are less than 15.
Okay.
But yeah, our crews have to run all over the county to maintain these systems, and they do an excellent job. We've got great employees, hard-working employees, and they're very customer service oriented. And that's one thing I'm really proud of our PUD1. We take pride in providing customer service. We get people that come out here from the city, and they're used to waiting 2-3 weeks to get somebody out there to solve their problem, and we're out there the next day, and they can't believe it.
Well, customer service has a lot to do with communicating with your customer base, and you're right there on the edge, the cutting edge of getting the information out.
Yeah, we've got a really good PR person, Kristen. She's brought social media to our PUD. We've done a lot of technology upgrades. We're state-of-the-art on our software, so people can do online billing, payments, and view their bills online, see how much their power usage is. We've just got a new smart hub that just launched, and so people are even going to have more information available to them. We have AMR metering, so that was one thing I really pushed for, because I want our employees to do really value-added work, and not that meter reading isn't important, but going to each house when you have the technology that you can just drive down the road and set up and collect every meter within a mile. And it's just not only good for getting the billing out more promptly, but it's much more efficient, because we read our meters now, both water and electric, probably in a couple days, where it used to take a couple people all month to get them read, or a couple weeks. So that person that's a meter reader, then they can do higher value work when they get their meter reading done each month.
Another topic here, PUD 1, along with many other public utility districts, have passed resolutions opposing the carbon tax initiative I-732.
732, yes, correct.
Can you explain briefly why?
Well, we opposed it. We just don't think it's good for our utility. It's going to increase our costs, and we are not part of the problem. PUDs deliver 95% carbon-free power already. But the way the law was written, all of our undeclared resources, which are many, which we purchase from Bonneville, because they have to go to the market during certain periods. And the way the initiative treated those undeclared resources, it treated as if they were 100% coal, and they're not. A lot of times it's wind, it's solar, it's natural gas. It's very little coal, probably almost zero. Yet it's treated as coal, and it's taxed as coal under that initiative. And we were looking at costs just starting out in the first years, when the tax is only $15 a ton, metric ton. On a low water year, it could be as high as $212,000. And I think on a high water year, it was about $60,000. And then there's all the tax that went with the gasoline. And our fleet burns gasoline or fuel that generates CO2. And that was taxed starting out, I think, at 25 cents a gallon, and eventually would go to $1 a gallon. The carbon tax started out $15 a ton and eventually go to $100 a ton.
Right.
So it could get into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, $1 million a year impact on our ratepayers. And we're basically carbon free now. I know there was an offset. They said that there'll be a sales tax offset, but we did the numbers, and it didn't come anywhere close to balancing out for us. And I think it's just bad for our economy. I mean, if there's going to be a carbon tax, it ought to be a nationwide tax, because it's going to put some states in a competitive advantage and other states like us, if we do a tax, at a disadvantage economically. It's going to be bad for agriculture. We're a big ag state. Our PUDs in Eastern Washington serve a huge ag community. And those folks have a hard time making ends meet now in the ag community. And then you put another tax on the farmers, and it's just not going to be good. And I think rather than spend money on a tax, why don't we do something that's actually is going to reduce carbon footprint, and that would be electric vehicles. I think it'd be a win-win for everybody. Let's electrify the fleet, especially in the urban areas. It's not going to work real good in the rural areas unless they really improve the battery technology. Right. But we can, in the urban areas, we can electrify that fleet. You're not going to have all the oil residue going into Puget Sound. There's just a lot of positives, and that would be the biggest, most significant thing we could do to reduce our carbon footprint.
Okay, Karl, that is all that I had before you. Do you have anything you'd like to add, something pressing in your mind that the voters may want to...
Well, one thing that I really encourage is public participation, and we've got some big ticket items facing the PUD. Our facilities are old. Last week we had a work session about new facilities. We also are going to have an upcoming work session on a regional water system in the Union area, because we have certain systems don't have enough connects, and by doing more of a regional system for Union and intertying some of these systems, we could get everybody hooked up. But there's some big price tags associated with it. The way it was presented by the consultants that did the Grant Osborne's did the engineering design and review for this, it's just too cost prohibitive in my estimation. And I push back to and challenge our staff that we've got to come up with cheaper solutions. But we're going to have a public meeting. I hope that people will come, and I'd like to hear what they have to say, and we'll go from there. But I'm there to represent the ratepayers in the long run, and try to do what's best for all, for the most in the long run, and still keep rates reasonable, yet provide them good quality service. So that's how I view my job.
Okay. Karl Denison, Mason County PUD #1 Commissioner, incumbent. Thanks for taking some time.
Diedrich, thank you. It's a pleasure.
Helping voters make informed decisions. This is Hood Canal Communications and MasonWebTV.com.